Basically, we want people to feel like they can have their own garden irrespective of the space they have, whatever you have.
Sure.
Greenery is something that people need, and I think I'm happy that they are realizing that.
Hey guys, welcome to Backstage with Millionaires. I'm Caleb, your host, and today the guests that we have on the show are Saumya and Babita. They're the co-founders of YourGreenCanvas, which is a company that's providing eco-solutions to a variety of different kinds of clients within Bangalore, Delhi, and Mumbai. Some of these clients include Mahindra, IndyCube. They're also working with breweries and restaurants, as well as small offices, and actually even individual retail customers who just want to outfit their homes or balconies or terraces with greenery. So were you two entrepreneurs before you started YourGreenCanvas, or is this sort of your first venture that you
Actually, this was a first venture. I was an HR executive. She was a day trader. We just didn't want to do the same thing. And we decided, no, we have to think of something else, something that gives us more happiness, meaning, purpose. And this was born out of that.
So how did you even stumble across the idea of greenery though? Like there's a lot of different things probably that you could have done. Why did you settle on this?
So we used to travel a lot together, and it was in 2013 that we were on a trip to Scandinavia, and we figured out that every small places we were plucking out mosses, taking out barks, and then we figured out, oh, is it our calling? But then we thought maybe not. And during the same trip, we did a small terrarium workshop in London, and we got really excited. And we thought, yes, this is our calling.
Okay, so it started with terrariums, which
Yes.
I'm not even sure if the camera is filming, but you've got terrariums on either side of you. They're these glass sort of...
Yeah, they are glass bowls with no drainage. But you will be surprised to know that that point of time, 6 years ago, I'm talking about, it was a very new concept in India.
Sure.
It was a craze abroad. And it took us almost 6 months to figure out whether the same thing can be done over here. We had a lot of experiments to be made, and we failed miserably many times. So if you see our first terrarium and what we make today, you can figure out the difference, how it was and how it is now.
And figuring out everything, like, you know, where do you get the glass? How do you make it unique? Even the know-how. It took us about 1.5 years to understand the world of plants, because while we had come from these plant-loving families, we ourselves had never really bothered.
Wow.
Till we actually decided that this is what we'll be doing.
Sure. So a friend of mine gifted me a terrarium about 2 years back, and I still haven't put anything in it because it seems really complicated. I mean, when you read about it online, it's a very delicate, like you're putting in succulents or you're putting in cacti or some of these other exotic plants that we don't really, no one ever teaches us how to take care of a plant, right? Like, I mean, some parents do, but usually that's something that you have to figure out on your own.
I think, you know, we do a disservice to our kids by not teaching them the world of plant. I mean, how will you bring up an environmentalist if you're not introducing them early on? Terrariums actually are a very, very easy way of getting into plants. I mean, the process stays the same. We do conduct a lot of workshops teaching the same thing to a lot of people. And once you get a hang of it, it's the easiest way to bring in greenery indoors. And I always tell my participants, you know, in our workshops that unless you kill a few plants, you'll never be a gardener. I mean, it feels bad, but don't give up after you kill one.
Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what you guys went through, right? Where you were experimenting, you were trying new things, actually educating yourselves about how do plants even work, right? Before you started the company. And then what was the point where you sort of took that leap of faith and decided, okay, we're really going to do this now? Like this is going to be our business.
Yeah, so it so happened that we were creating, and a friend of ours who used to run a shop in Koramangala, she suggested, why don't you keep it? At that point of time, we didn't even know what price point we should put it in, who will buy. But you wouldn't believe that in a week's time, we sold the entire stock. And then we knew, oh, maybe, you know, there's a demand lurking up there. And then we started sourcing for the glasses, which normally used to come from outside India. It used to take time, plus bulk orders. And then we could finally manage to create our own designs, and we found glass blowers who could do it for us. And over a period of time, this attraction grew. We went to flea markets. People liked our products. People even used to call it terrariums. So we used to be, yeah,
Terrariums.
terrariums.
Even now, I think the instinct is for people to call it a terrarium.
We used to explain how they survive, how you have to take the care of the plants. You don't need to actually, the more you ignore, the better they are. So this was only one part of the product at that point in time. And when we all incorporated our company, suddenly we got a chance. People liked the terrariums, and they gave us opportunity to do up their places.
Somebody who had bought like a lot of terrariums from us actually saw potential in using our creativity in doing up their garden, and it turned out to be Big Blue Sky. And the founder had this vision where he wanted things which are not your manicured gardens, and he approached us, and he didn't care that we had no experience. He just wanted someone who's ready to be creative, who's ready to try, experiment. And that's how we started our next phase, where we got into landscaping and maintenance. And then why we thought, okay, we are sort of good at it. Then we started talking to experts. We built our expertise there. We learned a lot.
So it sounds like the growth was pretty organic, right? Like it started as not really a hobby, like you were pursuing this as a business, but taking very small steps at first, right?
Absolutely. I mean, when we started, it was all about terrariums. We didn't even think beyond that.
Yeah.
And at max, when we would think of where we are going, first of all, we were not thinking of where we are going. It was just very day-to-day survival. But I think only after we got this opportunity, we realized, okay, we have skills. And I think one of our biggest learning has been self-belief, to accept that there are certain things you have and you go with it and let it thrive. And I think this Big Blue Sky opportunity did that for us.
And I'm sure setting up that space would have led to a lot of other opportunities too, right?
In various ways, actually. It did seem like a great break for us. I mean, although it had come via our terrariums, but we're quite grateful for the opportunity we were given, and we wanted to make the most of it. It did not just show us a path forward, it also taught us a lot. I mean, because it was something that we were doing for the first time, and here is someone who's just given us a blank slate, do whatever you will with it. And it taught us a lot. We maintained it, Big Blue Sky, actually, that garden, till almost this last July, we were maintaining it. Now they have their in-house team where we just consult. So yeah, and it basically opened a lot of gates for us, not just in terms of more clients, but for us to figure out our next move forward.
In fact, we felt confident after that when we could do it from a clean slate, we can build it to such a level, we can do anything.
Yeah.
Sure. It was almost like learning on the job, right? Where
Absolutely, yeah, because this was not what we had studied for.
Yeah.
I had studied HR.
Sure.
Same here.
Same here.
And not only that, but while you were building the company, like you said, the focus was on terrariums, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't on this comprehensive, setting up every plant in an entire restaurant or brewery.
So while Big Blue Sky taught us landscaping, Hike taught us
Plant staging.
Yeah.
And then
Hike was...
Hike is a messenger system which had an office in Sharjapur Road.
Okay.
And they saw us maintaining the garden, and they called us for a meeting. And
they saw the space at Big Blue Sky.
Yes, the Big Blue Sky, and they called us for a meeting, and that was the closest sale we did. But like in a month's time, we were there. We had put the plants, and they were very happy with it. And we maintained it for 2 years till they closed down. Yeah, unfortunately for us, but it was the most beautiful office, and we were proud to have been associated with it.
Yeah.
And then, they from one another, we just kept on getting opportunities. Like sometimes it used to be for small balconies, sometimes it used to be big landscapes. And I think one of other creative opportunity we got when we were invited by IndieCube to do one of their outdoor spaces. And we out of a plain wall, we created a beautiful garden with arches and plants flowing. So I think then they got excited. They hired us for other projects. and now they are one of our biggest clients.
That's awesome. I've actually seen your work at IndieCube, and it's beautiful. I love what you guys have done.
Thank you.
I've been to a lot of spaces, and these are like nice offices, right? They have nice furniture, they've got paintings on the wall, but there's no plants, right? And I think that's something that a lot of offices are lacking. So I guess as time passed, you started to realize that this was actually the need of the hour, right?
Absolutely. And I remember that when we had first started, we had to convince people to spend on plants. It was not something that they thought they needed in their lives. We had to talk them into buying our products or plants even. And now, fortunately, the shift is in whenever somebody is building a new office, one of the key elements that they decide upon right in the beginning are plants, gardens, landscaping, outdoor areas. And we've seen that in IndieCube. Landscaping has become a big part of their design, and they actually let go of a large chunk of their usable space to give breathers to their employees. And we've been fortunate to be a part of a lot of their projects. So we have done a lot of landscaping. And I've also seen it in other smaller offices. I mean, we're currently working with a dentist's office in Koramangala, and she feels that the doctor feels that a lot of patients, when they're sitting in the waiting room, there's a difference in the vibe when there are plants happy and healthy. And so she's become a great proponent of having plants in her office space. And similarly, like all small offices. So this is a big change from when we started. And we are very glad for that.
So would you say that over the last, this is a transition that's kind of taken place over the last 5 years or so?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. 6 years ago, the story was different.
Yeah, we wouldn't even think of corporates,
Yes.
going to corporates, or at least we were not aware of any.
Yes. So initially, what we realized, initially our products sold because of the unique factor, but now people are getting attracted towards plants, and that's where we come in. Like, we can create. You give us any small plate, we can create a succulent garden out of that. If you give us a glass bowl, we can create a terrarium out of it. Anything and everything, they can be a small piece to object the art. In fact, we have done 2 big terrariums for a client who is a builder, don't want to name. Yeah, but these big terrariums, and they're very happy with it.
Sure.
Yeah. So,
and everybody, has somehow figured out that they need a greenery in their space. So now we have more and more people coming in who want to do whatever they can in the little balconies they have, or small terraces they have, or even indoors. I mean, if all they have is a window with lots of light, they want to do plants. I mean, we are not ventured completely into vegetables, but we have vendors who are partners. So we create vegetable gardens on terraces. Basically, we want people to feel like they can have their own garden irrespective of the space they have, whatever you have.
Sure.
Greenery is something that people need, and I think I'm happy that they are realizing that.
I have some plants on my balcony, and it's always nice to walk out there and just feel like, even though it's just a little piece of nature, right? It still gives you that sort of that element of.
What we also feel that over a period of time, we have become very aware of it,
More.
Yes. Like any small tree which is being cut, we react. Maybe 6 years ago we were not. So that love for nature has just come in.
It's one of those passions, or it's one of those interests that just grows.
Definitely. So my last question for you guys is, what does the path forward look like for Your Green Canvas? What are you hoping to do in the next 2-3 years?
So we are very excited about the future prospect. We are coming up with a new product. They are ready-to-made balcony products, which you can just bring and stage. And there will be little add-ons where in a day's time, your balcony is all set. Yeah, and not only that, even we are innovating with the products. And
We are actually going to build a lot on things that have worked for us. For example, our workshops. Workshops have been hugely popular, and we've done extensively in both retail and corporate space. So this year we are adding to that. So we are we are adding more garden-related product workshops, more terrarium workshops, more team-building workshops. And one new exciting thing that a lot of people seem to be interested in is being part of our projects. So we are, using basically we're using teams to experience building a garden firsthand. So that should be something new. In terms of products, this year we want to go back to our roots and innovate as much as possible. So we have some really exciting ideas. We are prototyping it currently and hopefully launch it before Earth Day and Environment Day. So yeah, that's our next focus. So the next 3 months is products, and workshops will be more organically grown. Yeah.
And we retail through 1 or 2 lifestyle stores at the moment, and we are trying to expand our presence throughout Bangalore by tying up with other retail shops, basically to make our visibility more, so that we are in that space and we will be there.
Okay. Yeah. We don't want to retail directly. We always want to partner with existing corporate, existing stores.
Sure.
And for example, we work with Purple Turtle extensively, and we are very happy to be a part of their product list.
Okay, so if people want to find Your Green Canvas products, they can go to Purple Turtle, which is located in, there's one in Domlur, and then also Lavelle Road near UB City, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And then if you guys want to know more about Saumya or Babita or Your Green Canvas, I'll be leaving a couple of links in the description of this video. You can go check those out. Also, if you have any questions about their journey as entrepreneurs or about their company, would love it if you could leave a comment down below. And also would love it if you could share this video with anybody that you think would be interested in it. Thank you so much for watching this episode. And thank you both so much for taking the time to share your story.
Thank you so much for having us.
For sure. All right. Okay, you guys can make noise now. We're done.
Done.